Well, hello everyone, we are back with another vlog today.
Happy February.
Happy February, yes. We are halfway through February now.
Yes. So it's a little bit of a different vlog because we're kind of getting a later start to the year in terms of content creation. Our January vlog was also late in January, so we figured since it was so recent, let's just do our Q&A now.
Yeah, let's create a little separation.
Yeah, especially because, within the spirit of catch up, we're back to the Uwe Rosenberg series that's kind of chugging along. And we figured we were supposed to do this Q&A last year when our channel turned 2 in June, July.
About July of 2021. Yeah, that was the 2-year anniversary. And now we're closer to the 3-year anniversary, but you know what? We wanted to do this anyway.
Yes. And so we still have all of your questions. We gathered questions from Instagram, from our Patreon community, and just from some of our YouTube videos, as well as our last Q&A video. And so we have them all over here in a document. We've categorized them again, just like we did with our first one, in terms of content creation, personal questions, and ending with board game specific questions. If you'd like to jump around to the different sections, we will include timestamps down below. Before we begin, though, we do want to just mention a few updates. Even though the beginning of the year has been a little bit slower, we are going to be putting out quite a few videos in the coming weeks. Don't be alarmed if you see them. They're videos that we've been working on behind the scenes.
Right. We
have a playthrough coming out very, very shortly that we can't really announce right now, but another playthrough that we do have is a 2-player playthrough of Fog of Love.
Yes.
It's going to be a special Valentine's Day playthrough, I suppose.
It is,
And it's going to be launching on Valentine's Day itself, so we hope you'll join us for that. And the last thing, just because I don't know when exactly we'll be able to get out a March vlog, we are going to be doing a little bit of traveling between now and mid-March, I suppose.
When the vlog would be coming out.
Yes, we're going to be going to 3 different conventions, board game conventions. We're going to try to be as safe as possible. We're doing everything we can to take precautions. The first one is going to be for anybody in Southern California, Strategicon, which is the local convention that they hold 3 times a year. I believe it's President's Day weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be in about 2 weeks.
So we'll be there, and we're just going to be playing games. I don't know if we'll be there the entire weekend, but we'll definitely be there for a couple of days of it. And then in March, we are going to be attending Dexter West as well as AirCon in the UK. We're going to be helping host AirCon with Watch It Played. So that's going to be really fun because this could be our first time, truly getting together as a Watch It Played team.
Yeah, it's our first time traveling internationally since 2019. So
yes.
It's going to be pretty exciting.
And a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
So let us know if you plan on being at any of these events, because it would be really nice to say hi. And I believe that's it. Yep. Are you ready for some questions?
Let's do it.
All right. So starting with content creation, because we get a lot of questions about just how we go about doing all this, the process, our setup. The first question is actually, what is our setup like?
Oh, okay. So yeah, our setup is actually pretty straightforward. What you would expect to see on any kind of YouTube tutorial about how to set up a studio. We have 2 soft boxes here pointing down kind of in this fashion so that it can not only light us, but also light whatever's on the table. We have a C-stand here, which is basically a large, kind of almost like a boom arm that holds our top-down camera that's pointed directly down. And of course, we have this camera right over here. We have some lighting in the back, and that's kind of it.
It's not the most impressive setup. This camera that we're shooting from is actually an iPhone.
We get shooting questions on an iPhone 12.
Yes, it's both our front video as well as our audio. So anybody out there who's looking into getting into content creation, if you have an iPhone, or if you have access to one, it's
not bad.
It's not bad.
Yeah, I will do some audio EQing later on, and then Monique does some color correction stuff in post.
Specifically with the top-down camera.
With the top-down,
we don't touch the front on at all.
Yeah, in terms of color or anything like that. Yeah, whatever comes out of the camera naturally, natively, that's kind of what we go with. Okay, what is our process like?
Ooh,
process. Okay.
This is going to be a little bit of a longer answer,
yeah.
I think. So I'm assuming when this question means what is our whole process in getting a game in and then final video out, right?
Right, like from the moment it arrives to the moment it's released onto YouTube.
Right. I will say that the answer to that is going to vary depending on the game and what kind of content we're making for it. So we're just assuming we're doing a playthrough and review of this game, right? So the game comes in, one of us is going to unbox it, and unboxing these games takes a long time, actually.
Yeah, it can.
It can. So we really try to you know what? If we just have a little bit of time before bed, why don't you just unbox them games real quick, right?
Like a little unboxing afternoon or something.
But once it's unboxed, I will typically grab the rule book and I'll bring it with me. And so whenever I have downtime, if it's like a lunch break at work or just any hour of the day, I suppose, I will try to just read it front to back, just so I can have an idea as to how the game is played.
Yeah, Monique is actually very good at learning rules. If the rule book is fairly decent, she can read the rule book and actually understand it very well. I have a very, very difficult time doing that. So after she reads it, we'll typically come together, set up the game, and then kind of go over it without actually playing it. Maybe.
Yeah, we'll do a dry run, and then if we're reviewing the game, then we have to play it several times. If it's a game that we are doing just a teach and a playthrough of, then we don't have to play it nearly as many times because you're just figuring out how the game is played, right? And then we get it on the calendar to film. And the filming part of it is definitely what takes the most amount of time. It's the most challenging, as you can probably imagine.
Yeah.
Only because we both work. It requires us both to be at the same place at the same time.
In the same headspace.
Same
also
headspace.
to film. Yeah.
And it also requires, I have to get ready, you know, I put on makeup and all that, and that actually takes quite some time.
It does, yeah.
And then we've been really trying to play around with when the best time to film is, because when we first started, it was like around during the pandemic time. The pandemic hit, nobody was going out. We were just at home, so it was much easier for us to film on the weekends. But now that that's no longer true, we've been kind of playing around with filming really early in the morning before going to work, like at 6 a.m. sometimes.
Yeah, we'll sometimes get up at 5:30 in the morning to be ready to film by 6:30.
Film something, and that is really tough. So then we try to do it after work, which can sometimes be challenging.
Yeah.
So it really just depends on the week.
Yeah, sometimes you're exhausted from work, and it's like, I know we said we're going to film today, but let's just do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that happens, you know.
Yes. And then once the filming is done, we pretty much just hand it to me, and then I will just edit it as soon as I can and as quickly as I can. I edit all the videos right now. Up to this point, that's been true, but Naveen...
I am now working on some editing, so bear with us if you see some videos that are like, that was kind of weird.
We'll let you know which ones those are. Or maybe you can see if you can spot it.
That's true.
And once that's done, actually, I don't know, and not a whole lot of people talk about this, but once the video is actually done and uploaded, you're not done. That's not all. There's a lot that you have to do in terms of putting in the descriptions. If you see any kind of writing, that's something that we had to put in, right?
Yep.
Descriptions, well, you handle that stuff.
Yeah, so once it's done editing and we export the video and we're ready to upload it to YouTube, I handle pretty much everything from that point on. So yeah, the descriptions, the tags for the video, putting it on BGG, thumbnails also, creating those. So we have nice templates and everything now, so it's a lot easier, but definitely about a year and a half ago, it was like coming up from scratch, and it was like, oh,
really
my gosh.
hard.
Yeah.
So Naveen does handle all of that stuff, getting it uploaded, and then I handle all of the social media, because he's not on social media at all, almost.
Not really, no.
So posting to Instagram, putting it on Twitter, just anything else to just let it be known that there's a video out there is what I handle. Yep. And then it's done. So that is a process for one game.
And then there's comments, and then I'll try to get around to comments in between patients or something like that. So
we respond to that
we
stuff.
try to,
And so on this note, if you are interested in getting into content creation, or maybe you do it already and you're just kind of looking for tips from other people, just how they do stuff, what makes it easier for us, because obviously we have to cover several of these games in a short amount of time, and all of that is for one video, right? So what you want to do is try to automate as much as you can. So our filming setup stays set up. We don't ever tear it down.
Yeah, and this is our dedicated space. Yeah. It's kind of like everything is ready to go. The only thing is sometimes like the camera height and things like that you have to kind of manipulate.
You just have to, you manipulate things just so it fits the game.
Yeah.
But for the most part, everything that we do is set it and forget it, or else we would not nearly be able to cover as many games.
I couldn't imagine having to tear down and then reset up every single time.
So we are very fortunate in that sense, but just as much as you can automate, the better. The next question actually is how we manage our schedule, and I feel like we kind of answered that just now. The other part of the answer is it's still a work in progress, and it's still something we're trying to figure out, because it's hard to manage the content creation. You can plan as much as you want and put it on your calendar, but life is not plannable sometimes or a lot of times, right?
Like when we're ready to film, we sit down, 5 minutes in, the neighbors decide to start gardening.
Oh yeah.
And then it's like, well, shut it down, we'll be back in 30 minutes.
Our filming space is right next to the window that leads to the outside, the neighborhood street. And so anytime there's gardening or just people living their life, right? Washing their cars or whatever.
A big motorcycle that really wants to just zoom down the street. It's like,
we have to shut down.
Just wait. Okay, next question. How have you found the rapid rise of the channel over the last year or so? Have you found it's added pressure, or has it impacted how you feel about content creation? Also, do you still love it?
I will say we have been very, very fortunate, right, that we've experienced a rapid rise in a short amount of time for board gaming specifically. And I think the answer to this is going to be very different depending on who you ask.
Sure.
Naveen is a very really laid back, nothing really bothers him ever unless it's really dire. I get stressed out semi-easily, or easier than he does.
Easier, for sure.
So for me, I definitely felt a lot more pressure, feeling the need to be a certain way, or whenever maybe I felt like we weren't doing something so well, it does feel worse than at this very, very beginning where I felt like we're just putting out content and who cares, right?
Yeah, okay, I can see that. Yeah. So you don't want to disappoint.
Yeah, I always have this feeling that I really don't want to disappoint people who are watching, because people are very, very kind to us.
Yeah.
And
that's why sometimes when we get a rule wrong, it's like, oh, we got a rule wrong.
Okay. That's the worst. That is by far the worst. If we put out a video and then you read the rule book and then you think it's one way and you
play test it all that time playing it wrong.
Go back to the rule book after somebody says you did it wrong, and it's like somebody changed the words on you, right?
It's like right there, you're like, what?
Yeah, that's
that was in there.
That's not gonna go.
Yeah, it happens.
Yes.
I think that's the biggest one for me.
That's
like
the worst.
Whenever we get rules wrong, it's like, shoot.
Yes.
But
so
it happens.
I think that's specifically it. I think I feel a lot more pressure to be accurate when it's really, really hard to be accurate in making playthrough videos, because you're trying to you're really having to juggle several things at once. But to fully answer the question, I don't know about you, I still really love it.
Oh, yeah,
For
totally.
me, this is like, the reason why we're able to put out so many videos is because for me, especially, this is like my happy place. I enjoy all of it.
Yeah, I think we've mentioned before, Monique likes to do creative stuff, so that's why this is kind of like an outlet, and I like doing stuff with her, so that's it.
Do you rehearse before filming a video? Like, who should do which part of the talking? Naveen?
I always feel the need to talk more during a teach, but sometimes I'm like, you got this. Like, that was pretty good what you said. I'm just gonna messy this up. So we don't truly rehearse. It's not like we're gonna sit down and talk about this 40-minute explanation of a game. I think, Monique, as you're getting ready, you kind of mentally are saying like, okay, I'm thinking I'm gonna talk about in this flow and this order. Just so that it's kind of easier.
If it's an extremely heavy game, I'll write like talking points, bullet points on I have like a notebook that I keep by my side.
Yeah, like this will lead into this, will then lead into this, but there's no
just for the
script.
flow. Yeah, just so I don't forget anything. But in general, we pretty much wing all of it. We don't script any of it. In the beginning of a teach, I'll ask Naveen, like, what would you like to cover?
Talk about. Yeah.
What parts do you feel comfortable covering?
Yeah, because I have a tendency to ramble sometimes. If you saw some of the B-roll from us or the bloopers from us, I'd be like, that was very simple what you could have said. Take the cube, drop it off, and I'm like talking like for hours about what you're doing with it. So for that reason, I try to just interject wherever I think it's kind of necessary or kind of clarify some things. But Monique is the ultimate teacher, and I'm just kind of the color commentator.
So I'm the one who makes the rules mistakes, unfortunately.
Okay, what's something you think you've gotten better at over the course of these 2 years? Well, 2.5 years now, yeah.
All of it, I think. The more you do it, the more comfortable you get. So I think the biggest thing is talking in front of a camera.
I was just about to say that is that if you go back and watch like maybe our first 10 to 15 videos, you can just see that I'm like, hi.
He didn't want to do vlogs. He had a hard time doing vlogs in the beginning.
Okay.
He used to say, what are we going to say?
Yeah.
We didn't want to bother people, right?
Yeah, you don't want to hear what I have to say. Yeah.
So definitely talking in front of a camera. And also just getting faster at editing, specifically for me.
Yes, you are a lot faster at editing, for sure.
Than day one.
You've learned a ton of like shortcut keys, like literally shortcuts on the keyboard.
Learn your shortcut keys, they'll save your life. What is the biggest change you've made to your channel since it started?
Okay, so a couple big changes. First, when we first started the channel, Monique was primarily doing just purely teaching videos where there would be like zoomed in and cuts and all sorts of different things. So we've completely changed from that to kind of the playthrough teaches that you've seen. But also another big change is we moved our studio from a tiny little hot sweat box room upstairs to where it is here, where we're more comfortable and actually have some elbow room.
There's a kind of a story behind that too. If you look back at those really old playthroughs, I think we did Bora Bora and Last Will
in
that room, and Naveen hated it.
It's like a 10 by 10 room,
Hated
if that.
it.
Yeah.
It was a very tiny room. We had to
Tiny.
close the door in order to do it. And you had to shove all the equipment that we have here in that room on a very small IKEA table.
Yeah, these lights get really warm in a space like that. Here,
Yeah.
right now, like this, like you can't even tell like that the lights are on creating heat, but they're, oh man.
So Naveen
Hot.
one day got really, really sick of it, and I said, okay, let's just try to find another place for the house.
Yeah.
And you know, we're in Southern California, so we don't use this
Never use
beauty,
this thing.
right?
Yeah.
This fireplace. So we
rusting away.
thought just set up shop in front of the fireplace and just see what we can do.
Yeah, this room
So-
that we're in right here was actually kind of just empty.
Yeah.
We did not use this area. There's no couches or anything like this. So I was like, why don't we just set up here?
We use it more of like an exercise room,
Yeah.
I guess. So.
Mhm. Less space to exercise now.
Mhm. I would also say that we've also changed the way that we choose the games that we're going to cover.
Mhm.
I think that definitely in the first year and a half, you know, that's the time where people are really testing their waters, or at least we were. We content creation was definitely a side hobby that we were doing for fun, and so it allowed us at the time, because of who we were able to talk to in terms of publishers, it allowed us to explore games that we normally maybe wouldn't have chosen. But in exploring those games, we kind of really figured out which games we would prefer to cover, right?
Yeah.
So nowadays we're very specific in choosing the games that we cover.
Does Dexter ever interfere with filming?
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Maybe every time.
Pretty much every time. We'll lights, camera, action. He'll want to woof a couple times.
Yeah.
Sometimes he'll sneak a toy underneath this. So Dexter hangs out underneath this table
Yes.
on an electric blanket. If you haven't
Every
heard
time
that.
we film,
Yeah.
Dexter's underneath the table. So
He's
if ever
yeah.
you're wondering where he's at, if you're ever
He's
watching a playthrough,
Always down there.
he's right there.
He's on an electric blanket. He's a creature of warmth. Sometimes he will sneak a toy and just
You know,
start.
we're talking about him. Let's grab him.
All right, he's.
Speaking of Dexter,
Yes,
here
here
he is. I grabbed him from underneath the table. He was sleeping.
Yeah.
We just took him on a really long walk. And so to answer your question, there have been a couple of times where he's knocked over the lights. Like if somebody comes and drops off a package while we're filming.
Oh yeah, he does not
hates
like the outside world.
Anybody who knocks or doorbells or anything. And so he'll just like run out from under the table and start barking. He doesn't care what he hits.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he'll sometimes trip over the or like trip the cords, and then like this light over here will just come
Yeah.
down. It's like, oh, I gotta hold it.
yeah. But for the most part, he's just sleeping under the table. He's
We'll
really
get
good.
some woofs out of him, and then we'll just kind of like stop, and then start again. But
Yeah.
you know, it is what it is.
He's a very simple man.
Yeah.
He just needs me to turn on the electric blanket, and he's good.
Yeah.
It's nice and warm. So I'm gonna maybe turn him
Put him back.
over there. What game would you love to cover?
What I love to cover, probably Ark Nova. That's like a new game
Oh.
that everybody's saying that this is a game that we would really enjoy, and
Yes.
that it plays really well at 2. And it's a terraforming Mars killer. I'm not a big fan of terraforming Mars, so I'm not exactly sure
If you're really gonna like it.
I would really like it, but
I know I love the theme.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah, you're trying to
So,
build out a zoo.
I think so.
Something like that.
Animal
Animals.
enclosures.
Yeah.
Definitely animals. I will say
Yeah.
we are definitely going to cover it.
Yeah.
100%. We have plans that's like at the top of our list, but they just don't have it in stock
Right now. Yeah.
at Capstone. So I mean that's a good thing. It's a great thing for
Yeah,
them.
good
But we'll have to wait a little bit longer.
How about yourself?
For me, I really want to cover some splatters.
Mm.
And so if you're not familiar with that term, is Splatter the publishing?
That's the company. Yeah, Slaughter Games.
It's definitely a line of games that are typically really heavy and really long. It really brain burning, and it's usually they have themes to them.
Food Chain Magnate
Yes.
is they're one of the more popular ones.
Bus
Bus,
is one that was released in the past.
I
It was
still
one of
haven't
their
played it.
oldest ones that was, I believe, re-released.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
I
that
think-
one sounds really cool.
Yeah, I don't know that one. That's like there's like some time travel or something going on in there.
I mean, part of the problem is we also haven't played a lot of these games. We just really
Yes.
want to,
Yeah.
but we don't. They're hard to get a hold of.
Mhm.
And they're really pricey, and yeah, they're just hard to get a hold of.
Yeah.
But if I really had it my way and I could just take all the time in the world off of work, I would want to cover Splatters.
Slaughter. Yeah. Okay, last questions before we get into some personal questions. Are we going to do a Feld series? He has a lot of games.
He does. I mean,
a
so
lot
does
of-
Eva Rosenberg and Radoui.
Yeah.
I will not say no,
Won't
right?
say no.
We're not going to say no, but most likely not this year.
Definitely not this year, I
we
would
have
say.
a lot of commitments that we
Yeah.
had started that we are truly dedicated to wrapping up first,
Right.
including this really long Uwe Rosenberg series that we're loving.
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
get me wrong, we're
Oh, yeah.
loving it, but
Yeah.
we don't want to commit to anything new. The other thing though about Feld is his games are hit or miss with me. specifically.
Yeah, but there's
In-
like a bunch of games that you haven't played
Yeah.
that you still need to figure out, and that's why
It's
the
true.
series would be there.
I'm just very much so a completionist. Like I would want to put all the games in
Yeah.
that series, and
Yeah.
we actually offloaded a couple of games that we
We did that we both didn't like.
Yeah. Okay, I was infested with rats in Notre Dame, and that just killed my game.
Notre Dame.
The entire time. We were playing like a 3-player game of it,
Yeah.
and it was our first time playing, so I didn't quite understand how everything kind of worked together. But they're really punishing. Some of his designs are really punishing.
Some are, yes, yeah.
And I actually think that's a good thing because, you know, like we were mentioning in some of our other playthroughs of like Uwe Rosenberg games, they don't really make those games like that anymore. But yeah, it was quite frustrating.
Yeah. So to answer that question, maybe. Maybe.
All right, so moving on to some questions specifically about us, not necessarily about content creation or the board games that we like, I guess. Starting with, do either of you have trouble not thinking about games while working? Or are you able to shut that part of your brain off during work hours? It's really interesting. I actually don't know the answer.
I think I phase in and out. I do think about gaming and games while I'm at work, but I can shut it off if that makes sense. If I'm busy, obviously, then I'm focused on whatever task is at hand. But if I have some downtime, that's where sometimes I work on the content actually, and or I'll go into the comments and stuff like that. And so so I guess to answer the question, technically yes, I can, but do I want to? Not really.
For me, I think more about the content.
Yeah.
Right? This is stuff that we're working on. But if we play a really, really good game that we just discovered, then it is something that or I don't know about you, but it's something that I will think about for a few days. Okay, this next question is specifically for Naveen. Naveen, are you a fan of any sports club? And what is your favorite NFL team? Choose carefully, they say.
They say choose carefully. Well, I've chosen very carefully since I was a young boy. The San Francisco 49ers. They were one game away from making it to the Super Bowl this year, so they will not be playing this Sunday, unfortunately. That would have been really, really awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been a lifelong San Francisco 49er fan. For football, for basketball, I love the Los Angeles Lakers. Haven't been watching too much basketball of the past couple of years. The game has kind of changed the way the NBA is played. I kind of like the old school style of basketball. And in terms of soccer, I do watch the English Premier League, and my favorite team is Arsenal. Do you have any favorites, Monique?
No, I just sit there. I eat the guacamole. Naveen makes a mean guacamole, so I'll eat that. And I'll typically work on content actually when he watches football.
Content.
I know. That's all we ever do. It was really cute actually because we shared the fact that Naveen is a 49ers fan with our Patreon community, and everybody there is super nice. And when there was that elimination game recently
against the Rams,
yeah, they were going in and commenting like sorry, Naveen.
Tough loss. It's like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, it was sad.
Favorite animal, and do you own a game with such an animal on it?
Realistically, I think both of our favorite animal is our dogs.
Yes, I was
we
gonna say
both
Dexter.
really, really love dogs, Dachshunds are my favorite breed.
Yes,
but
do you own any games that have a dachshund in it? This game has a dachshund in it. It is Knights of the Hound Table.
Yes.
So we have not played this yet.
It's a card game.
It is a card game with a bunch of different dogs in it. We picked this up at PAX Unplugged.
Yeah. It's by a company called We Ride Games.
That's
and
right.
At PAX Unplugged, they showed us the Wiener Dog cards.
That's
like a
right.
Wiener Dog Knight. So Knights of the Hound Table. If you're interested in kind of like, I think it's kind of like CCG style card play.
I think so.
But they're all dogs. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, it's Knights of the Hound Table.
There's another company that we're big fans of. They did Compromat. What's that company?
Oh yeah. The company used to be called Helvetique, and I think they rebranded.
I think so.
But they have specifically a Wiener Dog game.
It's called Winston.
Winston,
yeah. It's like you're elongating this Wiener dog.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what it is you're trying to do there.
It's a very simple card
Super
game.
simple, yeah.
I don't remember the process either,
But it's
I
definitely a
remember
Wiener dog.
being very cute.
Yeah.
But in terms of like the larger genre of animals, my favorite animals are giraffes. And that's been like my thing ever since I was younger. I really, really love giraffes. Do you have a favorite?
I like lions and tigers. I'm a boring
That's
kid.
not boring. Those are great animals.
I feel like it's just like everybody likes those.
I mean, animals animals are
animals,
great
yeah.
and universal. And so we do have a couple of games that feature those types of animals as well. There's this game called Botswana. I think it was I think it's on BGG as Wildlife Safari.
Yes, I don't know why that is.
This is an interesting game, but we never see this displayed. It might be out of print, but it's a
think it's out
Reiner
of print.
Knizia game actually, and it's stock market like.
Yep.
And the game comes with a bunch of plastic animals.
Yeah, where's your giraffe? It's in here
Yes.
somewhere.
Is it? Wait, is there no giraffe? Oh my god, that's hilarious. There's no giraffe.
There's no giraffe in this.
I just wanted to show you the game, really.
Well, show them the pieces then, at least.
But yes,
yeah.
there are lions. Naveen loves lions.
I do.
And
Zebras here. Zebras are pretty cool.
the reason why there are animal figures in here, by the way, is because the game consists of cards that correspond to the different animal types. And so you're doing a combination of drafting animals from the table and playing cards from your hand. But the way that you play the cards is super interesting. This is actually a really fun game.
Yeah, it's a good game.
And then at the end of the game, the points that you get is going to be dependent on what type of animals you were able to collect
And
over
the
the course of the
value
game
of
and
it.
what value they are by the end of the game.
Yeah.
So it's a great one.
Very mathematical, Reiner Knizia style game.
And this one definitely has a giraffe.
Yes,
So Animals on
right
Board
on
is
there.
an I Split
Yeah.
You Choose, probably one of our favorite I Split You Choose games.
Yeah.
And it's about filling an arc with animals. You're trying to pair them up, and there are definitely giraffes in this one.
This one, yeah.
Will you be attending Gen Con this year? Oh, I don't know how this question got into this category. It's a
Will we?
board game related.
Yeah. Yes. I think the plan is yes, we are going to be. We have not secured like a hotel technically or
Yes.
flights, but the goal is to definitely be there.
This is our plan for the year. I don't know how much of it is going to happen, so just keep that in mind. But we're definitely going to Strategicon this month. Dice Tower West and AirCon are both in March. And then most likely we're going to try to go to Gen Con in, I think it's in August?
Yeah.
And then Essen.
Yes.
Essen
That would be the goal.
in
Essen.
October.
Yeah.
We're
big fans of going to Essen. Sad we couldn't go last year, and then obviously the year before it was not happening. So it would be nice to go back 3 years later.
Yes, and we're definitely prioritizing Essen because we really, really love that convention and we love traveling, internationally.
Yep.
But it's really going to be everything that we said is going to be really dependent on, how
The
things
world.
are going, the world, yeah.
Yep. Okay. Speaking of travel, favorite place we've traveled together.
Ooh, we've done quite a bit of traveling.
Yeah.
I'd probably say Iceland.
Ooh, Iceland. Yeah.
We went to
Reykjavik,
Iceland
Yeah.
1 year when we were actually going to Essen because it made sense in terms of a flight.
Yeah, we
because of-
stopped over. We flew from the Bay Area, San Francisco, to Iceland. Stayed there for a couple days.
Yeah.
Traveled around Iceland, and then continued on into Essen afterwards.
And
Yeah,
Iceland
it's beautiful.
is beautiful. It's
Picturesque.
unreal. It's like you just, especially coming from a city like Los Angeles,
Yeah.
and then going to a place like that that's just like so in touch with nature and it's beautiful. Everybody there was obviously really nice and just
The cleanest air I've ever put into
ever
my
breathed,
lungs.
right?
Yeah, yeah, it was nice there. Me, it's either Iceland, yes, or Florence, Italy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Florence, Italy is beautiful. And if you've ever been there, the architecture there is amazing. And every single time you go down a street and you turn a corner, there's just something
like a
picturesque
painting.
and beautiful everywhere
Yeah.
you go. And the food's great also.
And the big thing with us is we really enjoy exploring the history of everywhere that we go, the history and just how people live, just in general. So we're not really big on.
I'm not really like
touristy
a
things,
beach
right?
a beach person, like
Yeah,
travel
we're
to the
not.
beach kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Basically anywhere that we went when we went to Italy was just amazing.
Yeah.
Just the architecture and just the roots,
It's amazing that
history.
people have the opportunity to live amongst all that.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Okay, Naveen.
Mhm.
Hardest question:
Hardest.
chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate. 100%.
Naveen, I think I've said this in the past, but Naveen is the biggest chocolate fiend I have ever met.
I do not get chocolate tired. I do not get chocolate wasted.
If you ever seen
I can just keep going.
the Willy Wonka, the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie, the
The Gene
oldest
Wilder one? Yeah,
Yes.
uh-huh.
And there's the
Augustus?
kid who's like drinking the
That's
chocolate.
me.
That's Naveen.
That's me. Yep. Mhm.
That is
Keep
like
going.
paradise for
Yeah,
Naveen.
yeah. I'd get stuck in that too. No problem. Yep. Good.
I think if you were to ask me before we met, I
Ah.
might have said vanilla because vanilla is such a classic. It's basically just sugar,
French
right?
vanilla
It's
is good. I
just
do like
sweet.
French vanilla.
Yeah, I like vanilla in literally everything that you mix it with because it's just like a neutral sweet. fresh, neutral, sweet,
It
right?
has its own flavor profile, but
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
But Naveen has definitely warmed me up to chocolate. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
anytime we ever have a choice, I'm obligated to choose chocolate.
Yeah, if we're gonna split something, it's like, you sure you don't want the chocolate one?
I have to choose chocolate. I feel guilty, right? If I don't, if I deprive
She
him.
knows how much I love it.
Okay, the next question we already kind of answered, but it's, are you attending upcoming conventions and can we game with you? The second half of that, for anybody that we met at PAX Unplugged, we deeply apologize. We we sincerely wanted to play games, but it was just not going to happen.
It was really nice to run into people, and people came up and introduced themselves to us, but unfortunately, just with time, it was hard to do that. The next couple conventions coming up are pure gaming conventions in terms of Strategicon, Dice Tower,
Especially
as well.
Dice Tower West.
Yeah, that's just a pure, just 5-day game-a-thon. So
Yes.
I think there will definitely be space to game with a lot of people.
For specifically Dice Tower West, AirCon, we definitely have a schedule because we're going to be with Watch It Played. But Dice Tower West, it spans from Wednesday to Sunday, and we're actually going for that duration of time.
Yeah, we'll be there on Wednesday.
Because we really want to kind of take it easy. We want to try to be as safe and as healthy as possible, especially going into the AirCon trip.
Yeah.
But that's literally all we're doing. All you can do there is play board games. And so if people are going to be there and you're interested in playing board games, that is probably the best opportunity for us to play.
Yep.
How often do you get to play games for fun?
So since COVID, and it's not because, I don't think it's because of the channel, we do not do a regular game group as much as we used to. We used to have like 2 or 3 game groups.
It's sad.
That would constantly be rotating, and then with COVID, we kind of wanted to restrict as much exposure to people, obviously, and so
we wanted to respect their
boundaries
comfort.
also.
Yeah, their boundaries. Exactly.
Yeah, so we don't get to play as much for fun. Just like, hey, we know this game, everybody knows it, we're gonna play it tonight, and play 3 of those types of games.
Yeah.
So not as often as we'd like, but we do enjoy learning these games and playing them and getting them ready for the channel.
Yeah, and lately we've been doing a lot better at that because we do this thing. There's a third person who's basically a third member of Before You Play. He's a really good friend of ours, and he tries to play test like all the games with us.
He helps us out a lot.
He helps us a lot. He helps us learn games sometimes too, and we'll do all day game days where he'll just come over and we'll just start and we'll play until the end of the day, and we'll just try to play as many games as we need to cover as possible. And so on those days, I try to sneak in something.
Yeah.
Because I'm in charge of putting all the games kind of like on the table, and I'll put something on there that's just
we
for
all
fun.
know this one. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's also something that we're going to try to be better about this year because
Yeah.
we have this collection and we definitely want to return to them, right?
Yeah, we want to make game groups kind of a regular game group thing again. Who is a better cook?
Naveen. 100,000%. Naveen is a fantastic cook.
Oh, thank
like best cook ever.
No, ever?
For
No.
me.
Okay, yeah. That you've been exposed to?
Yeah, he has a lot of dishes that he makes a mean version of, right?
Yeah.
Like my all-time favorite dish is a salmon risotto. I will request that during any special holiday or something that he's willing to cook that.
Yeah, that sounds good. We haven't had it in a while.
Yeah, but Naveen, but seriously, Naveen is a fantastic cook, and he likes to practice cooking.
I do.
So much so that I don't cook that much, and part of the reason why is because when I go in there and I start, he kind of does this thing where he's like, what are you doing? Let me show you how to do that.
I micromanage a little in the kitchen.
The next thing I know, the dish is done. There's no chance.
I just, you get one chance at it. It's like if you cut it wrong, it's like, well, now it's not minced.
And then that freaks me out because I'm thinking, well, I only have one chance, and if I mess it up, then it's ruined for everybody. So.
Yeah, I'm a little bit of a control freak in the kitchen.
Will Dexter be getting a sibling?
We've been talking about getting another dog for about 7 years. Probably not. I don't know.
We really kind of waffle back and forth about it. Ideally, yes.
Puppies are so much work.
We really, really, really want a second dog specifically, but there are a lot of barriers in our life. One of the things is we travel a lot, whenever we travel, at least we used to, and now it's picking up again. And whenever we travel, Naveen's parents watch Dexter, and they have a very special bond with Dexter. Dexter loves them, they love Dexter, they're all best friends. Yeah. And if we got picked up a second dog, like that would be too difficult, to travel.
Yeah.
We wouldn't want to
hand over 2 dogs.
Hand over 2 dogs.
Will you watch the dogs versus like will you watch Dexter?
Yeah. And the other thing is Dexter is extremely territorial. That is the one thing. Dexter is like the perfect dog. until you bring another dog into the
Yeah.
picture.
Or a stranger comes over.
Yeah, he's just extremely, extremely protective of us and the house and everything. So it would be a little bit difficult.
Yeah, introducing a new dog to him, that
That
push and
stress.
pull and like,
And you don't know who's going to
yeah.
be in danger between the two of them.
Yeah,
It's tough.
Unfortunately.
But we really, really talk about potentially getting a Vizsla in the future.
Yeah,
like
that would be
we
nice.
kind of want to get a bigger dog.
Medium-sized dog. I think a Vizsla, if you know that breed. It's a
They're
beautiful dog.
yeah. All right, and then finally, moving into our final category here, and this is just board games.
Board games.
How you feel about specific games or anything like that.
Sure.
So this is a question from our Patreon community, our wonderful, wonderful friends over in our Patreon community. What would you consider to be the perfect game for you in terms of theme, mechanics, complexity, or if you want to consider it in a different way, how would you design the game that would suit you the best? That's one question. There's another question after that.
Interesting. Okay, so I think perfect game length of time for a game for me, I think 90 minutes is like the perfect length of time for a game. I like midweight games. So something like Castles of Burgundy, that would be like what I would consider almost close to a perfect game. I really enjoyed that game a lot. It was ranked pretty high. I can't remember where it was on my top 50 that we just did, but yeah, something like that where it's like easy to teach, good amount of strategy. Granted, that one does not have that much player interaction, so I'd prefer a little bit more player interaction, but something like that, yeah, I think that would be it for me. Complexity rating, if like you were to go with the BGG scale, maybe like a 3.75 or something like that. Something that's like teetering on the heavier side, but still something that is easier to get into, and it's not like oh my gosh, a slug. How about yourself?
Interesting. I go between two extremes, and so I'm cheating a little bit by giving two answers here. For me, the perfect game, the near perfect game is A Feast for Odin.
Okay, yeah.
Because
Spoilers.
that's like the one game, one of the few games that I just like do not care about anything else. I just want to play it. I just want to experience it, right?
We call them journey games.
We call them journey games.
Like, it doesn't matter how you started,
wins.
how you finished.
Yeah.
Did you have fun throughout the entire experience?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I love games like that where I'm setting up the game and I'm already getting excited about playing it, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
That is it's a little bit more on the complex side. But if I were to design a game, or my true ideal game is a really thinky filler. I love thinky fillers.
Yeah.
A thinky filler that has good player interaction.
Like Parade.
Like Parade. Even something that has a little bit more chaos, where people can like laugh and like there's a lot of like table talk, like something like Cabo. The way that we play two-player Cabo. But if you can like imitate that in like a higher player group. Now that I think about it, Glory to Rome might be the perfect game.
I need to play that a little bit more.
Because Glory to Rome is like a thinky, it's a little bit longer. It's not a filler, but it does have quite a bit of play interaction. The meta game around the table is hilarious.
Multi-use cards, I think.
Yeah, multi-use cards. Love that game.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, part two to this is, do you think people should make a compromise in playing a game they don't like? So I'm assuming it's like, say you go to game night. There's certain groups, I think, that kind of have a challenge, in picking which game, who gets to choose which game.
Yeah.
And maybe you really, really don't like the game, but a lot of the people around the table really want to play it. Do you think that people should be making a compromise to play those games?
Meaning like
just
be
take
a good sport and just play it kind of thing?
Yeah.
I personally am one of those people that will be a good sport and I'll play it and I will keep my mouth shut and I might be like, oh gosh, not this game. But nobody will have any clue that that's the case for me. So for me, like, to answer that question, I will be yes, I would compromise myself personally. I have been in also game group for somebody like where I'm really excited to play something and it's the opposite way where somebody is very strongly against playing that game. And again, I'll be like, okay, then let's just move on. And so I guess I'm the one that is very willing to compromise.
Yeah.
So should other people be? Obviously, everyone is a little different. So that's just my personal opinion that I think to have flexibility is a good thing.
Do I think other people should? I truly respect other people's decision. If they don't want to compromise, then that's totally fine with me. Especially even if we're playing the game together. If we're about to set up a game and the person I'm playing with doesn't want to play it, I'd rather play something else that they'd be happy about than like sludge through a game I love that they're really unhappy about.
Yeah, because you could always
So-
play the game that you really want to play later, and there's plenty of other games that you
Yeah.
can all come together and agree on.
For me, it depends on the setting. So if I'm going to a game night where it's like a game group of people who I am choosing to be with because I enjoy their company, then I will literally play whatever the game they want to play.
Right.
It could be the game that I hate the most in the world. I'll still play it because I want to be with them. If it's a convention setting where maybe people are just maybe we don't know each other and people are just looking for another player and they're offering, and I not a big fan of that game, then probably not. Only because time is so limited.
Yes,
Right?
at conventions, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
And as a follow-up question, this actually is not part of the question. What if, Naveen, what if it's an RPG, a role-playing game? Would you do it?
The only RPG game is Role Player. I am not a big fan of RPGs. I've been, I was a good sport one time. I played
Yeah.
one, and then I was like, okay, I definitely am not into this.
Oh my gosh. I
so-
forced him to play Fiasco.
Fiasco.
If you're familiar with that game, that is a GM-less RPG where you're basically creating a movie scene. Everybody kind of is in charge of their own scenes, and you have to improv act. And it's definitely out of both of our comfort zones. We are not actors.
Yeah, I did not enjoy it at all. That was not good.
That might be the
I
exception.
probably wouldn't yeah, I'd be like, how much RPGing are we talking about here? Do you enjoy hidden movement games? Any favorites?
Ooh, that is a genre of game that we have not really explored much.
We played Fury of Dracula. What's that other one? There's like an alien Spectre Ops.
We demoed Spectre Ops,
We played
and
that.
that was the very first time we ever learned about quarterbacking and what that truly was. Because we
Yeah.
basically didn't play it.
Somebody else was making
Somebody
the
else
decisions,
made all
and
the
we're like,
decisions,
all right,
yeah. We
Yeah.
have a game called Stop Thief.
Stop
we
Thief.
We have the
Yeah, that's
newer
a good one.
version, the one that Restoration Games restored, I suppose.
Yeah.
And that is a hidden movement game, but not in the sense that a player is doing the hidden
Yes,
movement.
that's right. That one is like there's a criminal on the run,
Mm-hmm.
and you are basically trying to move around this board, and there's an app that helps you.
Mm-hmm.
That one is not so much hidden movement. Yeah, you're right, because it's not like one versus many. Because typically, like hidden movement's like that one versus many.
I think we're
Yeah.
so unfamiliar with the genre that we don't even know how to truly define a hidden movement game. Because there are
Yeah.
games like Spectre Ops, right, where somebody is the person who has like a notebook and they are doing their own secret
They're moving
movement.
around. Yeah.
And then I guess Mr. Jack.
Mr. Jack, yeah, that's a good one. I always get busted in
It's
Mr.
like hidden
Jack.
role.
I lose 10 out of 10 on Mr. Jack. Monique is so good at that game. She'll basically like whittle me down, and it's like
It's really hard to win as Jack.
yeah. I like to play as Jack for some reason, and yeah, it's so hard.
And I think the only other one that I played is Scotland Yard, but I
haven't done
played that via the app. So I felt like I didn't really have the full experience of it because it's just a one player. So to answer your question, this is a gap in our board gaming experience, and maybe we should try.
What's that
some
new
of
one?
them.
Mind Management?
Mind MGMT. That is a game that we were both very curious about.
The box art is just so good.
Stellar, yeah.
It's so good.
And
yeah.
because especially in a two-player setting, I'm really curious.
Yeah.
This question,
This is a
maybe
good
we'll cover
question. We'll look
Mind
into that.
MGMT.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Which game on the top 100 do you really want to play?
Oh, I have. There's got to be some answers there. Is Roll for the Galaxy on the top 100?
I would imagine so.
I don't know if it's
Let's
on the
find
top
out.
100. Let's find out. 103 is Roll for the Galaxy,
Yeah,
so
you
it's
missed
not
it.
eligible for this, this
Disqualified.
question. It's disqualified. I would say it's going to be Clank Legacy because
Oh, okay.
I've heard so many good things about it. I have never played Clank, the original, but people say that you don't need to play this one.
I thought you were going to say Blood Rage.
Blood Rage is on there, but I'm about to pick it up at Strategicon, so
Blood Rage is a
It's
game
coming.
that is probably the number one game that we both say we haven't played because we haven't. That people get really, really shocked by.
everyone says it's good.
Yeah.
And so
I think we just missed the boat. Like when Blood Rage was so popular, we missed it. We didn't play it at that
didn't
time.
play it, yeah.
And now people don't play it as often. For me, I would say Underwater Cities. So that is one that I missed the boat on, but I would love to try one day. You know, with the little underwater city bubbles.
yeah.
So cute.
Yeah. Which game is the most heartbreaking to lose?
I would probably say something like Dune Imperium
Oh,
or
yeah.
The King is Dead. Like a game where you just felt like the
tension.
stakes were high. Yeah, the tension was so thick.
Yeah.
And you're duking it out to the end, unless you're really like trailing behind. For me, when I'm really trailing behind, it's like, well, I don't care about losing anymore because I'm clearly gonna lose.
Yeah.
But if I feel like I'm really in the running and then you don't squeak out a win in the end, that's a little bit heartbreaking. But-
Yeah, for me, I know it for sure. It's Scythe. I come in second so many times in like 4 or 5 player games of Scythe. A lot of times I'll have like 4 stars, maybe a 5th star, and I just need to get one more, but I'm trying to push up my little heart track so that my multiplier is better. And somebody just goes and does boom, boom, and then like they do something that I was like,
Oh my God.
they got 2 stars
Awesome.
in 1 turn. Oh shoot, it's over. Oh well, I'm done. Yeah, Scythe, definitely.
Yeah, Naveen gets really invested in Scythe.
Okay, so this is our final question of the day. If you were only allowed to play one game this month, which would it be and why?
It would definitely be Pandemic Legacy Season 2 because we need to finish that, Naveen.
We
what
talked
are we
about that too
doing?
much.
Gotta stop the channel and play Pandemic Legacy.
I know, we should. Oh,
Right?
that's a good one. Maybe, oh, wow.
If we could play that and only that, we'd definitely finish it.
Yeah, well, yeah, that'd be our only choice. It would be already
Yeah.
set up and everything. Ooh, okay, yeah, I'll go with that one. That's
No,
good.
you gotta choose your one.
Okay, fine. Panamax, I really enjoy that game. Haven't played it in a while. It's best at 4. So we don't really pull it out ever to play it, just the 2 of us, because of the way the game kind of works. Panamax.
Can I change my answer? Because I would change my answer to Witness. And I would just like, let's go. 4 people who love Witness. Let's just play all the cases.
Yeah.
Just get through all of them. All right. There you go. We finally did it. We finished our second Q&A.
Second Q&A.
2.5 years into the channel.
In the making, yeah.
But hopefully it won't be that long before we release another one. Maybe we truly will do it when we hit our 3-year mark.
Yeah,
in
that'd be
June,
nice.
July.
Yeah,
So
that'd be 6 months from now, roughly.
send us your questions if you have them, and we'll hoard them just like we did this time.
Yep.
But thank you all so much for your patience and your kindness and for sticking around, through all these years. We look forward to all the content that's gonna be coming out real soon.
Yep. Thank you all so much for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it.
Bye.
Bye.